أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: الذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش إلا اللمم أن ربك واسع المغفرة. There are old crimes. There are crimes that have existed from the beginning of time, such as murder, such as theft, such as robbery. These are old crimes. They existed from the beginning of time. And there are new crimes. There are new crimes. For example, there's fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, cyber attacks, hacking websites. These are new crimes. These are crimes that did not exist in the past. Similarly, there are old sins and new sins. There are sins that go back from the start of time. And there are sins today that people previously did not used to commit. Old sins include murder, adultery, fornication, drinking of alcohol and wine. These are old sins. These sins existed from previous times. And then there's new sins. Sins that were previously not practiced, but they are new. For example, there's new drugs. Every day there's new drugs. These sins did not exist before. There's online gambling that didn't exist before. So there's old sins and there's new sins. Some sins are the root of other sins. They are the origin for other sins. Meaning, there are some sins, they're like the tree, and other sins are the branches. They branched out from certain original sins. Even today, there are some sins that will cause you to commit other sins. They are the root problem. They are the root problem. For example, selling drugs. Selling drugs is not an ordinary sin. Why? Because it is the cause for other sins. It causes murder. That's why you see drug dealers, they just sell drugs, but they're also murderers. It causes them to murder. It causes them to steal. It causes them to harm others. It causes organized crime. It causes bribery. It all comes from selling drugs. One sin that causes many other sins. Tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, we'd like to discuss the 10 oldest sins. From all the sins that we have, the 10 oldest sins. هناك الكثير من الذنوب، لكن الذنوب كلها تعود إلى 10 من الذنوب. هذه ال10 هي الأوائل، هي الأصل لجميع الذنوب. يذكرها الإمام علي بن الحسين عليه السلام في حديث مروي في الكافي. هذه الذنوب 10 هي الأساس، هي الأصل، وتشعب منها ذنوب أخرى، لكن هي الأصل. وهذه الذنوب هي لا تزال محل ابتلاء لنا وللغير. These sins, they're the 10 oldest sins. They're the root and origin for all other sins that we see today. And we shall be examining a hadith by Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. He lists these 10 sins. ففي الكافي سئل علي بن الحسين عليه السلام. Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, our fourth Imam, was asked, أي الأعمال أفضل عند الله عز وجل? What are the best deeds in the eyes of Allah? فقال ما من عمل بعد معرفة الله عز وجل ومعرفة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله أفضل من بغض الدنيا. He says there is no better act after knowing Allah, understanding who Allah is, and understanding who His Prophet is. After these two qualities, there is no better quality Then loathing dunya, hating dunya. Hating dunya, not hating life. No, there's a difference. بغض الدنيا مو معناته أنه تكره الحياة، مو أنه تقدم على الانتحار، لا، يعني لا، قلبك لا يتعلق بالدنيا. قلبك لا يتعلق بالدنيا، قلبك يتعلق بالله عز وجل وتعمل للآخر. نعم تعيش في الدنيا، عيش حياة مرفهة، لكن قلبك لا يتعلق بالدنيا. Loathing dunya, hating dunya, doesn't mean that you hate life. It means that you do not get emotionally attached to this life, so that you wish to live for many years. Don't get emotionally attached. At the end of the day, this life is temporary. It's temporal. And one day we will be asked to leave. Hating dunya means do not get attached. Live in this dunya. Live a proper life. Live a successful life. But don't get emotionally attached, because one day you're going to have to leave. Getting emotionally attached will not do you good in this life. And then ثم يقول الإمام زين العابدين وإن لذلك لشعبا كثيرة وللمعاصي شعبا. المعاصي لها شعب، وهناك أنواع من المعاصي، لكن هذه المعاصي هي الأساس، هي المعاصي الأول التي عصي بها الله عز وجل. And then Imam Zayn al-Abidin starts to tell us the first 10 sins, the first early sins that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was disobeyed with. الأول, the first, فأول ما عصي الله به الكبر، وهي معصية إبليس حين أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين. The first sin that was committed on earth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was disobeyed with was arrogance. Arrogance and pride. When Iblis, Satan, when the entire creation was asked to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam, Allah created Adam and He asked everyone to prostrate, all the angels, all the jinn, to prostrate to Adam, except Iblis. Iblis refused. هذا كان أول ذنب عصي الله به في هذه الدنيا، حينما خلق الله آدم وطلب من الملائكة والجن أن يسجدوا لآدم، لكن إبليس أبى واستكبر وتكبر، قال أنا خير من خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. Satan, or Lucifer, told God, he told him, you created me from fire and you created Adam from clay, and clay is better than fire, and hence I will not prostrate to him. I refuse. I'm sorry, what did I say? He created Satan from fire and he created Adam from clay. Correct? And fire is better than clay. And because fire is better than clay, he refused to pray because of his arrogance, because of his pride. قال أنا خير من, he said, I am better than him. This is a problem, my dear friends. Arrogance and pride. We have a hadith by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says any person that shows arrogance and pride, it is due to an inferiority complex. Because this person suffers from an inferiority complex when they were young. عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال ما من رجل تكبر أو تجبر إلا لذلة وجدها في نفسه. شوف هذا بصغره شنو صار بي، بطفولته شنو صار بي، منو مأذي، منو أذاه، منو استحقره، منو هذا بالكبر يطلع متكبر، طاغوت، متجبر، غاضب على الدنيا. Usually those who in their adulthood they show arrogance and pride, something happened during childhood. Some complex happened to them. Either they were ridiculed, they were bullied, they were hurt by a family member, a friend. Something happened. When they grow older, they become proud. They show pride. They show arrogance. This is the psychology of arrogance according to Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. طيب, we have a hadith that Yusuf alayhi salam. This hadith is by Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. That Prophet Yusuf, Joseph, after he became a king in Egypt, his father came all the way from Bilad Canaan, from Palestine. His father and his brothers, they came all the way from Palestine to Egypt to see Prophet Yusuf for the very first time. الإمام صادق ينقل هذه القضية، يقول أن يوسف عليه السلام بعد أن أصبح ملكا وجاء بإخوته وبأبيه من بلاد كنعان وفلسطين، جاءوا إليه إلى مصر. يوسف كان جالسا على عرشه، دخل عليه أبواه، دخل عليه أبوه وإخوته، ما قام لأبيه. ما بعد ملك كيف يقوم لأبيه؟ عجيب، هذا الأب اللي بكى حتى بيضت عيناه من الحزن فهو كظيم، بكى على ولده حتى فقد عينيه. يوسف تردد في القيام لأبيه. جبرائيل نزل إليه قال افتح، ابسط كفك. بسط كفه، أخرج نورا من كفه وذهب. قال ما هذا النور؟ قال نور النبوة في عقبك، أولادك بعد ما يصيرون أنبياء. لم تقم لأبيك تكبرا، أولادك بعد ما يصيرون أنبياء. Joseph was sitting on his throne when his father and his brothers, they came all the way from Palestine to see him. His father, it was his first time seeing his son after 40 years of crying for his son Yusuf. His father Yaqub, Jacob, he came for the first time. Yusuf was sitting on his throne. He didn't stand for his father. Angel Jibra'il came down and told him, open your hands. He opened his hands. He took out a piece of light. He told him, what is it that you took out? He said, your children were supposed to become prophets. They will no longer become prophets because you did not stand for your father. You did not respect your father. A minute of arrogance, a minute of pride, it cost him the prophecy and messengerhood and his own progeny. الإمام الحسين عليه السلام في دعاء عرفة، وما أروع هذا الدعاء. حقيقة أنا في نظري القاصر لا يوجد عندنا في مدرسة أهل البيت دعاء أجمل من دعاء الإمام الحسين في عرفة. أجمل دعاء. طبعا جميع أدعيتنا جميلة. دعاء أبي حمزة الثمالي، دعاء كميل، دعاء الصباح، دعاء الافتتاح، جميع المناجات 15، لكن دعاء الإمام الحسين في عرفة هذا دعاء عظيم، دعاء راقي مضامين عالية جدا. يقول في هذا الدعاء: وفي نفسي إلهي، وفي نفسي فذللني، وفي أعين الناس فعظمني. Imam Hussein, our third Imam, he says in his epic dua, on the dua that he recited in his final pilgrimage to Mecca 1 year before his martyrdom. He was martyred on the year 61 after Hijrah, after the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina. The year before, year 60, Imam Hussein went to pilgrimage, he went to Hajj, and in Arafah he recited this dua. And a section of this dua, he says, belittle me in my own eyes, but raise me in the eyes of others. Raise me in the eyes of others, but in my own eyes, belittle me. Don't let me think highly of myself. Don't let me become arrogant. Don't let pride take over me. Belittle me in my own eyes. وفي عيني وفي نفسي فذللني وفي أعين الناس فعظمني. And in dua مكارم الأخلاق, also this very beautiful dua. هذا الدعاء العظيم أيضا دعاء مكارم الأخلاق. يقول الإمام: ولا ترفعني في الناس درجة إلا حططتني عند نفسي مثلها. When you raise me in the eyes of people, let people think highly of me, but don't let me think highly of myself. Belittle me in my own eyes. I don't want to become arrogant. I don't want to show pride. ولا تحدث لي عزا ظاهرا إلا أحدثت لي ذلة باطنة عند نفسي بقدرها. And however much you raise me in the eyes of people, you bring me respect in the eyes of people, but lower me in my own eyes. Lower me in my own eyes. Don't let me think highly of myself. This is the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, to prevent us from being arrogant, to prevent us from being proud and showing pride. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this was one of the prime sins, cardinal sins, original sins, and that was arrogance. Number 2, greed والحرص. الذنب الثاني الأقدم، يعني بالتسلسل التاريخي من أقدم الذنوب، أولا التكبر، ثانيا الحرص greed. والحرص يقول الإمام وهي معصية آدم وحواء حين قال الله عز وجل لهما كلا من حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين فأخذا ما لا حاجة بهما إليه. طبعا نحن نعتقد أن آدم وحواء لم يرتكبا ذنبا، ولكن خالفا ما هو الأولى، كان هناك حكم إرشادي خالفا. من باب الحرص الله عز وجل قال لهم هذه الجنة كلا منها حيث شئتما ولكن لا تقربوا هذه الشجرة، هذه الشجرة تركوها، ما قدروا، راحوا على الشجرة. الإنسان حريص. The second oldest sin is greed. When Allah created Adam and his wife Eve in heaven, he told them you can eat from any tree you'd like. Absolutely any tree. Eat as much as you want from any tree except this tree. There's a specific tree, the forbidden tree, don't eat from it. They went ahead and they ate from this forbidden tree. Of course, we believe Adam and Eve did not commit a sin because Adam is a prophet. And logically and rationally, it is impossible for a prophet to commit a sin. It's impossible. Otherwise, there will be a double standard. He can't preach people to Islam and tell people not to sin when he himself sins. But what he did was he went against a recommendation. But hirs, greed. We always want more. الإنسان حريص أيها الأعزاء. حريص دائما يريد المزيد. البعض مثل نار جهنم. يوم نقول لجهنم هل امتلأت وتقول هل من مزيد. ايش قد ما يطلع أموال يريد بعد، عنده عقارات يريد بعد، عنده استثمارات يريد بعد، ما يشبع. حقيقة البعض ما يشبع. لا يملأ عينه إلا التراب. خلاص. Some people, they're very greedy. They want more. They keep on wanting more. And hence they miss out on great opportunities because of their greed. We tell them, why don't you attend Salatul Jumu'ah? Well, because of my business, I can't leave work. Why don't you come to the Masjid? I'm working. Why don't you come for majalis? Why don't you go to Hajj? I'm working. Work. All the time. Workaholics. It's all about business, making money. طيب. What about your spirituality? What about your soul? You don't want to work on your soul? You just work for your family and you earn a living. You earn more than you need. You're earning more than you need. What are you going to do with this extra money? You're going to leave it to heirs. You're going to leave it to the heirs. There are some people that are workaholics. They work nonstop, 7 days a week. I remember once I visited a community. I stayed at a gentleman's house. He worked 7 days a week, even Sundays. I told him, don't you want to rest? No, say it. It's business. طيب, how much? How much do you want to make money? And I think he only had one daughter. That's it. How much do you want to make money? You work 7 days a week. You never rest. You don't make time for your family, for your children. You don't want to come to the majlis, to the masjid. Half of Ramadan is over. Half of Ramadan is over. خلص. Only another half is waiting, and believe me, it will pass by with a blink of an eye. And some of us, we only came to the masjid once, twice, and for some, it's their very first time coming to the masjid tonight. This is an opportunity. Your business will only help you so much, but what about, don't neglect your soul. أيها الأحبة، الحياة مو كلها تجارة وعمل. واحد ايش قد يريد يطلع أموال. رحنا نصير خازنين للآخرين. الإنسان يترك هذه الدنيا ويترك الأموال ويخزن لغيره. يوم من الأيام كنت ضيف عند أحد المؤمنين، يقول أنا كنت كان داعيني على الغداء. يعني ذكر لي قضية لطيفة. يقول والدي لقني درسا. يقول يوم من الأيام جاب ماعون، صب لي طعام، قال لي أكل. يقول أكلت. يقول ورا ما كملت وشبعت صب لي بعد، ترس الماعون، قال لي أكل. قلت له شبعت؟ قال لا أكل. قلت له شبعت؟ قلت له، قال شوف ابني، الإنسان بس يقدر ماعون واحد، هذا اللي يحتاجه، أكثر من هذا ينذاب يروح. أنت قدرتك على الطعام هو هذا. بعد تريد تطلع أكثر أموال وتشتغل، راح تكون خازن لغيرك. هكذا الحياة أيها الأعزاء. I have a friend, he told me that my father taught me a lesson. One day my father poured me food in my plate and he told me to eat, so I ate. When I finished, he poured more food in that plate and he said, eat. I told him, I can't, I'm full. He said, no, eat. I told him, I can't, I'm full. He said, see, you ate one plate and you're full. The second plate is going to go to waste. You don't need the second plate. This is how much you need. Whatever you make more than this, you're just wasting time. Don't kill yourself over food, money that you're not even going to need, and you're not even going to spend. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The third oldest sin, al-hasad. The Imam says, ثم الحسد وهي معصية ابن آدم حيث حسد أخاه فقتله. قابيل حسد هابيل، وهذا من الذنوب، هذه من الذنوب القديمة جدا. الحسد بدأت من ولدي آدم، قابيل حسد هابيل وقتله، أدى حسده إلى قتله فقتله ثم قام بدفنه. Jealousy and envy. This is also one of the oldest sins. Qabil was envious of his brother Habil to the point that it led him to kill his own brother and then bury him in the sand because of his jealousy. You see, my dear brothers, jealousy and envy is a very dangerous illness. It's a very dangerous illness. And it needs to be treated. Just like cancer, if God forbid someone has cancer, they're not left without treatment. They have to be treated immediately. How come we treat a physical ailment but we don't treat a spiritual ailment? Someone who's suffering spiritually. And just like cancer has several stages, envy also has stages. There's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. There's stages. And it's better to seek treatment in the earlier stages, because if you're diagnosed with the latest stages, it's very difficult to seek treatment. الحسد مرض أيها الأعزاء، مرض كبير ومرض متفشي، وينبع من قلة الإيمان بالله. الإنسان الحاسد الحسود إيمانه ضعيف بالله، يعتقد أن الله عز وجل ينعم على الآخرين ولا ينعم على نفسه. زين، أنت ليش تحسد الآخرين؟ اطلب من الله أن يرزقك ما رزق الآخرين. لماذا هو شنو الحسد؟ أن تتمنى زوال النعمة عن الآخرين. ليش تتمنى زوال النعمة؟ ما عند الغير ادعو الله عز وجل أن يرزقك. Envy, my dear brothers and sisters, is to wish for the blessing of someone else to be lifted. Someone has a nice car, someone has a nice job, you wish for that job to go away, to lose that job. Why? You ask Allah to provide you a similar job. Ask Allah to provide you a similar car. Ask Allah to provide you a similar family. Why ask Allah to take away that blessing, or to wish for that blessing to go away from the other person? This is a disease. Instead, let us punish ourselves. If anyone has any bit of envy in their heart, let us punish ourselves by wishing everyone well. Wish them well. Pray for them. الإنسان الذي يشعر بشيء من الحسد في قلبه عليه أن يعاقب نفسه، يؤدب نفسه، يجاهد نفسه بأن يتمنى الخير للجميع، بأن يدعو للجميع. كما تدعو لنفسك ادعو للآخرين، ادعو للمؤمنين وللمؤمنات. طيب, number 4, one of the fourth oldest sins, فتشعب من ذلك حب النساء, the love of woman, which actually means lust, sexual desire. It doesn't literally mean the love of woman. It means taking advantage of a woman, lustfully, having wrongful sexual desire. Not all sexual desire is wrong. Lawful sexual desire is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's encouraged. Wrongful sexual desire, using it in the wrong way, fulfilling your sexual needs in the unlawful manner. This is looked down upon. This is wrong. Sexual desire in itself is natural. It's natural in every human being. But fulfilling that desire in unlawful means. المقصود من حب النساء الشهوة الشيطانية. الشهوة والإنسان يلبي تلك الشهوة من طرق غير شرعية. هذا المطلوب، هذا هو المعني بحب النساء. يقول الله عز وجل: زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطير المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة والخيل المسومة والأنعام والحرث. ثم تقول آية: ذلك متاع الحياة الدنيا. هذا متاع الحياة الدنيا، وهذه الدنيا زائلة. نعم. One of the theories on why Habil killed, one of the reasons why Qabil, this is a theory, and I will talk about this, but unfortunately not here, when I continue my series of lectures in Vancouver, Canada. Tomorrow night will be my final night here in Toronto, and then I will continue in Vancouver, Canada. One of the lectures that I have is, why did Qabil kill Habil? There's several theories. There's 6 theories on why. One of the theories is that Qabil was jealous of Habil's wife. He wanted his wife. Who was his wife? That's another story. Was it his sister? Did Allah Azza wa Jal create a wife for Habil and create a wife for Qabil, and Qabil was interested in Habil's wife? That's a different story. But it was over a woman. It was over a woman. Qabil slaughtered Habil. طيب. Number 5, وحب الدنيا. One of the oldest sins is love of dunya. Love of this dunya. Being attached to this dunya. حب الدنيا والتعلق بها والركض ورائها. الإنسان يرتكب أنواع الذنوب لأجل الحفاظ على هذه الدنيا، لأجل التشبث بهذه الدنيا. نعم، ما عنده مانع يضحك على الآخرين، يقوم بالسرقات، نعم يرتكب جرائم، يكذب على الدولة، يكذب على الحكومة، يكذب على الناس، على المؤمنين، على مود شوية كم من المال، وبعدين بكرة هم لازم يعزل ويطلع ويروح. حب الدنيا, attachment to this dunya causes us to commit a lot of sins. A lot of sins. Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, قال إن في كتاب علي عليه السلام إنما مثل الدنيا كمثل الحية ما ألين مسها وفي جوفها السمع الناقع يحذرها الرجل العاقل ويهوى إليها الصبي الجاهل. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that this dunya is like a poisonous snake. Kids, they will go to the snake and want to pet it, saying how smooth its skin is. Very smooth skin, but it has poison inside. As soon as it bites you, it has poison. A logical person will not go near a poisonous snake, but little kids will go because they don't know what's inside the snake. وفي حديث آخر عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال مثل الدنيا كماء البحر كلما شرب منه العطشان ازداد عطشا حتى يقتلوه. This life is like the water of ocean. It's like ocean water. The more you drink from it, the more you become thirsty. The thirstier you become. And you keep on drinking until you die. Ocean water is salty. It doesn't quench your thirst. The more you drink, the more you're going to want until it kills you. This dunya is like this. The more you take of it, the more you will want to take. The more you want to take until you're completely immersed in this dunya. And you forget about the next life. You forget about Allah. And hence, Al-Imam Zain al-Abidin in his epic dua Abi Hamza al-Thimali, he says, Allahumma akhrij hubba dunya min qalbi. This is a dua that we should all ask Allah for. Oh Allah, take the love of dunya out of my heart. I don't want to love dunya. I don't want to be attached to dunya. Number 6, وحب الرئاسة, the love of leadership. There are some people in our community, أكو بعض الناس مولع بحب الرئاسة، عنده حب الرئاسة، يريد يترأس، حتى لو يصيرون 5 هو يريد يصير رئيس ال5. عنده حب للرئاسة، ما يشبع. ولذا تشوفون بعض السياسيين صار له 20 سنة بالساحة، 20 سنة بالساحة، ما يشبع من الرئاسة. عنده حب الرئاسة، ما يقدر. هذا فد مرض. Love of leadership, love of being a leader, even if he's not worthy. This is one of the oldest sins. Wanting to be a leader. And we have in every community, we have some individuals that fight with others in their community, on the board of directors, at the Islamic, and these are people that come to the masjid. These are people that come to the Islamic Center. They fight, they argue. There's individuals that argue. They call the cops on each other. They fight. They physically fight over who becomes the leader of this masjid, who becomes the leader of this Husseiniya. We have so many stories in Canada, in the US, in Europe, in the UK, fighting over, I wish it was the presidency of Canada. I wish they were fighting over the presidency of the United States. No, the presidency of a very small mosque. The presidency of a very small mosque. This is ridiculous. عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال من طلب الرئاسة أو من طلب الرئاسة هلك. Don't go after leadership. Let it come to you. If you are worthy enough, people will come to you and say, lead us. Lead us. If you are worthy enough, you will be asked to lead this organization, this company, this business, this mosque, whatever it is. People will tell you, come lead it. Don't go after leadership. Don't be a leadership seeker, someone who is obsessed, has an obsession for leadership. Leadership is not an end. Leadership is not an end. It's a means. It's a means to the end. If leadership helps us fulfill justice, serve people, then good. Otherwise, it's not an end by itself. أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام مرارا كان يقول لابن عباس كان يصلح شسع نعله. قال لابن عباس كم قيمة هذا النعل أو شسع هذا النعل؟ قال لا قيمة له. قال والله إن امرأتكم هذه أهون عندي من هذا النعل إلا أن أقيم حقا أو أدفع باطلا. هذا أمير المؤمنين. القيادة والإمامة والرئاسة عنده مو هي المنتهى، لا، هي وسيلة لإحقاق الحق وإبطال الباطل. الرئاسة لا تطلب لذاتها، وإنما لنقيم بها الحق وندافع عن الحق ونرد الباطل. This is leadership. Number 7, وحب الراحة. Love of comfort. This is a problem that a lot of humans have. Love of comfort. We buy the most comfortable clothing, the most comfortable beds, the most comfortable sofas, the most comfortable chairs. Our homes are heated. In the winter, they're cold. In the summer, we look for comfort. And this can be a problem. Being comfortable is not a problem. But being obsessed with comfort, always wanting to be comfortable, this is a problem. أوحى الله تعالى إلى داود عليه السلام قال يا داود إني وضعت 5 في 5 والناس يطلبونها في 5 غيرها فلا يجدونها. Allah tells Prophet David, that I have hidden 5 things and 5 things, but people search for those 5 things in other places and they will not find them. Well, what is it? He mentions one. He said, وَضَعْتُ الرَّاحَةَ فِي الجَّنَّةِ وَهُمْ يَطْلُبُونَهَا فِي الدُّنْيَا فَلَا يَجِدُونَهَا. I have put comfort in paradise, and people look for it in this life, in dunya. People are always looking for comfort in this dunya, not realizing that there's no comfort in dunya. Real comfort is in al-akhirah. Real comfort is in Jannah. Here in the West, we think that, especially when there's snowstorms and it snows and we get sick of the weather, we say people in the East are so lucky. They're so lucky. There they don't get snowstorms. The weather is nice. The weather is excellent. We think that comfort is in the East. Ask the people of the East, they tell you that the comfort is in the West. They hear people in the West are so lucky. People are in Canada are so lucky. We wish we can migrate. This is how it is. Rich people, sometimes they think, what, all of this money that I have, it's causing me stress and anxiety. I wish I was poor. Ask the poor, they will tell you, we wish we were rich. Everyone thinks that the grass is greener on the other side. You think that if I were to change, I would be more comfortable. The truth is, there is no comfort anywhere. In dunya, there's no comfort. Comfort is reserved for akhirah. We have to stop looking for it in dunya. It's relative. It's relative. It's relative comfort. There's no obsolete comfort in this dunya. Obsolete comfort is in akhirah. Some of us, we pass up so many opportunities because of love of comfort. For example, Salat al-Fajr. A lot of us, we miss out on Salat al-Fajr because of love of comfort. We sleep in. Salat al-Jama'ah. We don't get up for Salat al-Jama'ah. We miss out on Salat al-Jama'ah because of love of comfort. We don't go to Hajj because of love of comfort. We miss out on many mustahabbat because of love of comfort. Salat al-Layl. Who wants to get up at 4 in the morning and pray Salat al-Layl an hour or two before Salat al-Fajr? We don't, because we have love of comfort. A lot of الصلوات المستحبة, الزيارة, حضور المجالس, نفوت على أنفسنا الكثير من الواجبات والمستحبات لأجل حب الراحة. حب الراحة, حب النوم. نفوت على أنفسنا الكثير من الفرص لأجل هذا الحب, حب الراحة. Number 8, حب الكلام. The love of speech, speaking, talking. And this is a disease as well. There's a lot of people, they love to talk. Whenever we get together, there's social gatherings, they are the center of attention. They like to be the center of attention. They are the ones that give people news. They say who got divorced. البعض منا عنده حب الكلام. من تصير دعوة, من يصير اجتماع, هو يحب يتصدر المجلس. نعم, هو الكلام عنده, التحليل عنده, الأخبار عنده, هو يحب يتصدر المجلس. وهذا خطأ كبير أيها الأعزاء. حب الكلام خطر كبير, لأن الإنسان حينما يتكلم قد يصيب وقد يخطئ. Love of speech is a problem, because when you speak, and we're not infallible, sometimes we hit and sometimes we miss. Sometimes we say the right things and a lot of times we say the wrong things. I mentioned this hadith a couple of nights ago, that the Ahlul Bayt, they taught their Shia to be silent. Exercise silence. Be more silent than you talk, than we talk. Our talking should be minimal, unless it's important, unless I'm ordering good and forbidding evil, unless I'm teaching my children, unless I have something positive to say. Otherwise, we have to exercise being silent. ففي صحيحة عبد أحمد بن محمد بن أبي نصر قال أبو الحسن الرضا عليه السلام أن الصمت باب من أبواب الحكمة. أنت تشوف الإنسان صامت دائما، هذا عاقل، هذا حكيم. مو اللي دائما متصدر المجلس هذا هو العاقل هو العالم. لا، من الحكمة أن الإنسان يصمت، يكتم الحديث، يمارس الصمت. أن الصمت يكسب المحبة، إنه دليل على كل خير. The Imam says that part of wisdom is to remain silent. You don't always have to talk. You don't always have to talk. In every majlis, in every gathering, you're the center of attention. You have to be the center of attention. You sit and everyone gathers around you and you talk and you bring people's news and gossip and backbite. No, practice silence. Silence is wisdom. وفي صحيحة صفوان بن يحيى عن أبي الحسن الرضا عليه السلام قال إن من علامات الفقه الحلم والصمت. A sign of knowledge, someone who is knowledgeable, is that they're silent. They don't speak too much. They practice silence. They practice more silence than they practice speech. نعم. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أمسك لسانك فإنه صدقة تتصدق بها على نفسك. Rasulullah says, guard your tongues. This is a charity that you are donating to yourself. Guard your tongue. We don't always have to talk. Next time, when you want to mention a story, a gossip, backbite someone, mention anyone, think again. Should I say this? Will this benefit me? How will this benefit my deen and akhirah? How will it benefit my dunya? Number 9 and number 10, وَحُبُّ الْعُلُوِ. Love of being not high. Love of being in power, in a political position, being in the forefront. For example, in a majlis, they sit you in the main chair, in the high chair, always center of attention, in a power of position. This is ulu. تلك الدار الآخرة تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. There are some people that always want to be center of attention. They want power to themselves. They want to be the center of attention. And number 10, وحب الثروة. Love of wealth. collecting wealth, making more money, buy more lands, buy more acres of land, buy more property. These are the 10 oldest sins throughout history. Finally, Imam Zain al-Abidin يقول فاجتمعنا كلهن في حب الدنيا. What do all these 10 oldest sins have in common? What can we label? If we were to label them with one name, what would it be? حب الدنيا. Love of dunya. Love of dunya is befitting of all of these 10. فقال الأنبياء والعلماء بعد معرفة ذلك حب الدنيا رأس كل خطيئة. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يخرج حب الدنيا من قلوبنا. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take the love of life, the love of dunya, not the love of life, the love of dunya away from our hearts, to reduce our attachment to this dunya. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم، من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل، أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم، المشكور سعيهم، المغفور ذنوبهم، المكفر عنهم سيئاتهم، وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية، وتوسع في رزقي، وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل بي غيري. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أو يطلع الفجر من ليلتي هذه ولك قبلي تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.